Welcome, everyone. Happy Wednesday. This is the BioFi community of practice. And if this is your first time here, we are especially glad to have you. And if this is your maybe 25th time here, we're also especially glad to have you. And it's been a minute since we've all gathered. Last month, we had those BioFi cultivator programs where 18 teams who had been running through the BioFi cultivator design and learning journey shared. And since then, we haven't had an event. And so this is kind of the reset of our normal schedule of at least having one of these deep dives every month. And so just to remind us all, I'm going to put in the chat a couple statements. First, just to ground us in what we're doing here. The purpose of the BioFi community of practice is to cultivate and support a global community of practitioners who are designing, capitalizing, implementing, and evolving bioregional financing facilities through peer-to-peer learning and coordination. And these calls are one of the best ways to support that learning and connection and coordination. But as many of you know, we also have an online meeting place, our hearth, our digital hearth that we use the platform Hilo for. And so this is a great place for if you have questions for the presenters, if you had an interesting time in a breakout room, that's a place to connect with folks and find folks in your bioregion as well, who you may want to collaborate with. And then lastly, I put the Google Calendar link there so you can add our events to your calendar so you don't have to worry about remembering when these events are. It'll just pop up there. So we have one exciting piece of news before we get to our exciting presentation, which is today we finally got our website up and running for all the videos and presentations of the amazing teams that presented at the end of our BioFi cultivator program.
These are all going to Carl.
Oh, I'm sending all these messages privately to Carla instead of all of you. Thank you, Samantha.
Yeah.
Let me try to redo this. But as I was mentioning, back in June, 18 of these teams presented, and a handful of them were working in North America, a handful were working in Central and South America, and they each gave an 8-minute presentation on the bioregional financing facilities that they've been building, what their asks are for multi-capital support. And so if you weren't there, if you haven't seen those videos yet, it's a great way to really get to know a lot of the emergent work throughout the Americas that's happening. And you might even realize that there's beautiful work happening right near you, or you might see a way you can plug in and offer your support to these amazing teams. So with that announcement out of the way, I want to turn us towards our event today and help you all get a sense of what we'll be doing today. We have the amazing team from Circletrust here to take us on a journey, or maybe even take us on several journeys of the framework and platform they've been building out. It's a bunch of really thoughtful folks who are really thinking about how to apply their thinking, their learnings about multi-capital value flow and trust facilitation in the context of a bioregion, and how to align that with the BioFi framework. And we'll hear a bit of a presentation from them, and then they'll take us into breakout rooms where we'll get to explore more of what they're presenting and kind of think through how we would apply that in our own context. And so I'm going to leave it there for myself. I want to turn it over to the folks who have the interesting and inspiring things to share. And I think first up will be Christine Francis to introduce the Circletrust group and kick us off.
Beautiful. Yeah, thank you so much for having us here today. We're really interested to connect with the entire community, not just the BioFi leadership, because we see this as a great learning opportunity for us to connect with particularly project organizers. So I guess we can kick off with our slides as well. Todd, are you able to get that going? Awesome. So we're thrilled to be sharing work that we've steadily been building since Q3 2024, which represents an evolution of several years of concept development, including Todd's work with Serve Commons and Vivero, which were early models for many of the ideas that we're now exploring, also using BioFi's wisdom. So this is a creative work as well as a technical one. Yeah, thank you. So today we're presenting a vision that will reimagine wealth for bioregional regeneration, specifically what this looks like for people, projects, and communities, and what tools and infrastructure are needed to make this a reality rather than simply a concept. Next slide, please. So today we'll walk you through 3 user stories, or we could call them contributors as well instead of users. We'll show you a working prototype, and most importantly, we'll have a partnership invitation for those who see potential in building this infrastructure together. So let's dive into some core challenges that we'll be addressing. Next slide. So maybe you're familiar with this dilemma, is that traditional investments, stocks, bonds, real estate, etc., can generate financial returns, but they don't build the infrastructure for a future that we actually need. So what type of investing, what type of products and tools will lead us to clean watersheds, fertile soils, resilient communities, and a better response in crisis? So that's where we're moving into this space and asking these questions. Next slide. So we believe that the trust infrastructure is the layer that's needed for sophisticated multi-capital coordination at bioregional scale. At the moment, there's no proven ways to track exponential organic impact versus linear impact. There's not clear legal frameworks protecting and building community wealth from extraction in a way that is democratically available to large groups of people. And there's no way to pull time, skills, relationships, and money around watershed investments. Next slide. So what if you could contribute to your bioregion's healing story as an active participant? And that is the invitation that we're working with here. And next slide. So we wish to reframe value creation, seeing that individual prosperity can be enhanced through collective stewardship, and that community-owned infrastructure can generate lasting security. We're looking to implement threshold economics to unlock exponential capabilities. So the system and the engagement evolves as people become more engaged. So that way we can start small and start with what's proven, but still grow. And we're looking for every participant's contribution to help build collective resilience and regeneration. So we believe this will build true bioregional wealth. And I'll pass it to Todd now to explain some of the core concepts.
Hey everyone, great to see you all. I apologize in advance. I have a bit of a throat cold, so yeah, I might have to mute myself to cough. But my name is Todd Youngblood. I'm based in the Denver metro area at the kind of foothills of the Rocky Mountains, where the Great Plains meet the Rockies. And I'm excited to share kind of the evolution of these ideas for trust infrastructure for bioregional regeneration. So like Christine mentioned, this work represents kind of a collection of explorations between myself, Christine, Rob Hurwitz, who was also on the call, and Mike Rabin. He's going to, all of them, you'll hear from all of them. But Circletrust builds on kind of this common fund concept that I think resonates with some of the ideas that Samantha spoke to in the Bioregional Financing Facilities book. particularly interesting to me, working in a bank 10 years ago, was kind of the mismatch that, again, Christine spoke to about kind of the current economic paradigm and the paradigm that leads to healthy soils, healthy water. And for me, the way that came about was realizing that in most Western countries, the way we think about our economy is the accumulation of fiat currency. Working in a bank, to me, that didn't feel right. And through a journey, I realized that kind of the earth is the center of our economy, and we really need a new institution, if you will, that emphasizes the living planet as the center of our economy. So the Earth Trust is kind of the core idea that we're building around. And to me, that would not be denominated in fiat currency, but that would be denominated in the health of our soil and the cleanliness of our water. And instead of having a structure that accumulates wealth or value, the Earth Trust is actually something that flows value or redistributes value. So it's kind of a circular structure. So that is a center kind of a commons that we're organizing as a giving trust. It enables flow funding to a number of potential beneficiaries from the trust, aligned with the purpose of bioregional regeneration. We're integrating within a digital platform nested community governance that allows people to direct flow funding. And together we're building kind of this digital platform as a living ecosystem that is like a trust in our ability to create and share agreements for how we leverage our collective resources. So the trust, the Earth Trust as it's built currently, has 4 different kind of, I would say, agreements that it's operating under. Primarily that of a giving economy, one of reciprocity. I kind of likened it to the tithing system that Samantha spoke to in her book, but the Earth Trust is a pool for gifts. So if you contribute to Circletrust, the primary allocation of that contribution is to gifts. We are organizing this project much like a nonprofit, and kind of organizing our expenses. So stewardship of the platform, stewardship of the work is another allocation of a contribution. We're hoping to build an endowment that enables us to invest in regenerative projects. And then similar to a nonprofit, a part of that contribution goes to fundraising and storytelling for increased capacity of the trust and the commons. So I'm gonna pass it on. I think this is back to you, Christine.
All right. Yeah, thank you. So we'll have Todd, Rob, and Mike sharing 3 different stories of how people can contribute into that space. And each will be pretty much representing themselves, interestingly enough. So it would be an authentic story. And Todd, you're first up with the next slide.
Thanks. So I'm a new dad. Some of you might know that, but I have a 9-month-old, and one of the things that I thought about a lot and continue to think about as she grows and I see her become just a beautiful little girl, is what does her future look like, and how can I, as a dad, think about and prepare for kind of her life. And so my aspirations that I'm kind of bringing to this cooperative project is the idea that she can grow up learning about her bioregion. She can see a map of inspiring projects. She'll be able to know kind of what her local watershed, food shed, fiber shed is. And ideally, I am starting to contribute to a common fund that helps secure kind of a healthy living planet for her and her generation. So that is kind of the base layer, I think, of a trust. And on top of that, I think there's an important aspect of recognizing her story, and recognizing stories of her generation, as a form of value. So I think, Christine, we've called it kind of a multi-capital framework, but recognizing that there are numerous diverse forms of wealth, that are just not recognized or appreciated in the current paradigm of quote unquote economics. So I think the trust as this common agreement structure enables us to name and recognize and appreciate wealth or value as it's contributed in whatever form it's contributed as. And then the kind of the future I'm leaning into here is one where we recognize many voices and many backgrounds, and that introduces the opportunity for community-led governance, where each of us have a say and each of us have a voice in how our resources are used within a common trust. So this is my daughter Eliana, and the kind of, again, the goal and intention I'm building for her is this idea that she will have intimate knowledge of the bioregion in which she lives, in which she calls home, and the bioregion that provides all of her needs for her and her family. I personally have struggled with housing security. So part of, I think, the intention that I'm also bringing to Circletrust through an endowment type structure is how can we collectively pool our money, and invest in projects that recognize kind of humanity in place. So could an endowment invest in community land trusts that kind of return people to place with greater security than the current kind of economic paradigm places us, where I'm forced to choose between, do I rent or do I own? It's a false binary. So I'm going to pass it on to Rob. Thanks for letting me share.
Hi, my name is Rob Hurwich. I am in Western Massachusetts in the United States, and that's on the occupied land of the Nipmuc and Pocumtuck and Nonotuck peoples. Yeah, thanks for having me here and having us here. Delighted to be here, and it was yeah, it's really a joy to be able to kind of dig into this particular use case, if you will, of bioregional financing facilities, and read the book and see how things connect. And so, yeah, part of what I'm here to help introduce is the kind of the next level or layer of participant, contributor. So really, this is the project stewards. So these are like the regenerators. These are the stewards and the project initiators, like the folks that are on the ground, that are connected with the land, the ones who have their hands in the dirt, who are organizing the participants, who are learning the lessons, sharing the wisdom. So kind of the heart of bioregional transformation. And I am a project initiator myself, so I understand the difficulties and challenges here. Mine, my projects are more in the economic realm, so I thought I would introduce, a couple that are really more, directly on the ground. So a couple that we're familiar with. So the first is the Butterfly Pavilion, and this is a project that is near and dear to our first user's heart. That's Todd, near and dear in proximity as well. And they, among other initiatives, they facilitate community-powered monitoring across Colorado, where everyday people's observations become real data that guide policy decisions and protect pollinator ecosystems. Another, project is one that's a grassroots network that's here in my local area called Permatours. So Sid, Scotty, Blaze, and the other folks there hosting hands-on gatherings where people learn to create bioregional resilience through building garden beds, cob ovens, compost systems, and more, and all while they're building community and connection. So really, these are the folks who need help, and a lot of times these are the folks who have the hardest time getting it. And right, there's all different kinds of help that they need. They need visibility, they need supporters, they need participants, they need to connect with other projects and be able to synergize with a larger group. So they need information, feedback, collective intelligence, and of course, they need funding. And even when they get funding, right, it's usually then there's challenges in how to manage that, how to legally protect that. So yeah, it's a lot to ask. It's a lot to ask for a single project. So then I think the question for us was how is it possible to help them become part of a coordinated effort and be supported in having the greatest impact on a large scale. So, next slide, please. Yeah, so what this might look like, in a framework how we're thinking about it, right? Is they could register, as a steward in the service of the land. In this way, they're not stepping in as applicants, but those who are already in a relationship with the place. They could create a living project profile, helps them to increase visibility and find supporters. They can then receive support, receive signals, and build trust, so other folks can interact with them and unlock trust and new resources in a way that doesn't necessarily have to do with top-down gatekeeping. They're also able to then integrate with bioregional intelligence, right? So to add to the collective wisdom and align what they're doing with broader priorities. Another way that then they could be involved, right, is to receive funding from different sources in different flows, in different rhythms. They'd be able to connect and synergize with other stewards. So again, being part of an ecosystem rather than a lone project. Become part of the governance and commons, and continue then to participate in these feedback and learning loops. So reinforcing the growing knowledge and understanding of the whole bioregion and ecosystem. So that then speaks to the question of who are the people who are looking at the large scale coordination, who are the system designers and the folks who are taking a look at things from that bird's eye view. And I would like to introduce Mike Rabin, who's going to talk about that level of participant.
Thanks, Rob. I'm Mike Rabin, and I'm in Richmond, Virginia as a bioregional organizer and ecosystem builder with a movement called Pollinators for Change, which we define as a movement for sustainable change powered by love and community, with a grounding principle that everyone has parts to play in the making of sustainable futures. And our first hive is formed here in Richmond. Along with the aims of regeneration, we also hold and are able to do foundational healing work here from the origins of American colonialism. Our bioregion places us on the watershed of the James River at the fall line. So it's where the first ship sailing up the James River from Jamestown, which was the first settlement of the Virginia Company that began the project that would become America. As far as they could sail up the James before starting land trade, that's where Richmond is placed. And so this is the place where the first slaves sailed into port, and this is also the first port where tobacco sailed out. This is also the place that became the capital of the Confederacy and the Lost Cause era. And it's also the place where the Confederate statues came down in 2020. And the neighborhoods in this community are full of community gardens, regenerative farms. And we have gathered through this movement over the past year over 250 pollinators across over 50 named sectors of regenerative economies and political leadership ahead of our state house elections here this fall, which which has an opportunity to shine a beacon for the next era of American history if we're dissatisfied about the current state and direction of things. So this is the bioregional organizing work that we do here, and we'll be building up a white paper with a scaling model for circulation funding and working alongside Circletrust as our foundational architecture. So let's go to the next slide and speak more to that. So as a bioregional organizer, one way I describe this role is like a little bit of everything everywhere all at once. And so we want to be connected with the individual change makers and community builders for regenerative economies. We want to be gatherers for all of the projects and initiatives and innovative potential that's emerging for these projects in our communities. And at the same time, we want to be fully connected with national and global communities such as BioFi so that we can coordinate across bioregions and share best practices. And so having a foundational tool like Circletrust has been absolutely essential and foundational to our vision since we first started ideating on this project. And so we want to build in the features to be able to coordinate our bioregion all the way up from the individual into the project layers. And we want to have an infrastructure in place that can make it seamless to work across other bioregional leaders and working with like meta ecosystem builders like BioFi to do this kind of work at scale from both across fundraising, fund allocation, administrative structures, things that could really model best practice for doing this work at a higher level. Okay, next slide, please. So on that momentum, we're gonna step into our breakout rooms. I think we have about 15 minutes, and if I think we'll have if we could do like groups of 4, that would probably be ideal. Just share who you are, what bioregion you're from, and then what is your work? What is your work in your bioregion right now? Is it personal? Is it project based? Is it ecosystem based? Bring that energy alive in the room. And if you have some thoughts on how a digital tool could be useful to you, please share that as well.
We're back. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Carla, for making the tech work for us. Hope everyone had fruitful breakout discussions.
Great. So I think we turn it back over to the Circletrust team for the closing part of their presentation, and then we'll have some question and answer.
Cool.
Share my screen again. And is Christine, is it you that is speaking to this next part?
Okay, yeah. Well, we're going to have like a bit of feedback from the breakout rooms. So what was the feeling there? Rob, were you going to do that?
Oh, sure. Yeah, was there
Okay.
yeah, anybody like to represent their breakout room? If anybody just has any insights or feedback or thoughts from their breakout room that they'd like to share with the whole group, yeah, we'd love to hear that.
I'll go.
Great.
Yeah, I was talking with these 2 really amazing people that I had never met before, and I just love connecting with people on these types of calls because we're all like trying to build something different and like imagining how we can live something, a different way that's more connected with our ecosystems, and we're all doing different projects. But yeah, this the ability to get together is just powerful. That was my takeaway, and to explore together in this type of space.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Agreed.
This is Dan. I'm in our group. I'm from California, Santa Rosa. We had 2 other members in our group that were also from California, Tibet from East Bay, and Carrie from Los Angeles. And then we all met Michael, yeah, who is from Wales, and he's been doing bioregional work, he says, for most of his adult life. So it's great. It was good to network and get to know everybody in a small group setting.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah.
I'm curious if anybody had any discussions around what they would like to see in a digital tool that supports bioregional finance or bioregional.
There was some question in our group as to what a digital tool actually is as it relates to, fiat currency and online banking versus Bitcoin or some other digital currency. So what is a tool? How is a tool different from the currency? That's my question.
I appreciate that question. Yeah.
Great question.
We were chatting
Everyone ready?
about flows. Oh, sorry. Yeah, we were chatting about making visible flows, and it started with a conversation about watersheds and organizing stewardship around small watersheds in our neighborhoods, and then flows of communication and energy between people, and then seeing multi-capital flows in the form of labor and tools and assets and financial capital, and how important making visible those flows is to informing how we organize and invest.
Thanks, Samantha. Yeah, flows feels like such a foundational concept. Yeah, in everything we're talking about here today. So shall we keep flowing and flow into the next part of our chat here, and then we can pick back up conversations. Yeah, after that, I know there's going to be a Q&A session and discussion. So I would pass it over to Christine.
Beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, so I'd love to have the slides back up now, Todd. Thank you.
Yeah, Christine,
Um,
I can share my screen. I was curious if we actually, looking at the time, if we want to
Yeah.
move into app presentation. It looks like we might be a few minutes behind. Would that be?
We have 90 minutes today, right? Like overall. Yeah. I think we can do a little, like the next part is basically 9 minutes, so we could just knock that off. Yeah.
Okay. I will share my screen then. Here we go.
Yeah, so building on that concept of flow, we also want to look at flow resourcing along with flow funding. So we've seen some presentations here at BioFi Community of Practice that are really diving into flow funding, and that seems to be a core principle for this movement. So what does flow resourcing look like in alignment with that? Next slide. So the tool that we're building, someone asked, how is that different than a currency? I guess there is a lot of agency built into this tool set. Basically, we're seeing it as a vehicle to aid the expression of personal will and shared agreements. And that actually filters down into the legal layer as well. So it's not just informal agreements between people, but these are agreements that will hold weight legally, and technically that's what our tool is built to support. We're looking at values-based flow. So like how you want to flow your resources is based on your preferences and the values that you have. So if there's a particular niche in bioregional regeneration that is your passion, then you can make those choices and set up your account and the flow of your time, energy, and finances to support those preferences. And as I mentioned, like we are looking to build that multi-capital integration. So what does that look like when people can pool their skills and relationships and like volunteer time that they have alongside their money, which that just hasn't been happening in traditional giving situations. And it's not really seen as a holistic whole, as an actual weaving of value and for what people bring into the space of the bioregions. So, sorry, and yeah, next slide, please. So beyond individual wealth building, we are looking at how do people build and grow together. So that concept of being able to express your personal will and make agreements using the tool then allows you to connect with others who also have that similar formation and who are wanting to connect in ways that are aligned with what your goals and values are, whether that's as a family or an individual. That's where there will be this opportunity for people to invest collectively as well. So we're seeing that there will be a lot of benefits to this, the multiplier effect, where like say somebody invests $5,000 into local projects, the value of that is exponential in that they can see real change in their community and actually potentially even meet the people that this benefits and to have relationships with people like where their money is flowing. And yeah, over time this could lead to opportunities for collective ownership as well, where some of those pieces like food insecurity, housing issues, needs for different designs when it comes to the energy grid, these decisions will be easier to make once we have a stronger collective and people are willing to make decisions together. They have like a track record of relationship building. And there's actually a vision where all the effort that people are putting into smaller projects is leading to something that is more empowered. Next slide. Yeah, so we probably could move through this one pretty quickly. Basically, we're just seeing that there's ways for our tool to interact with a lot of these other financial instruments. And that's one of the goals of Circletrust, is to be highly interoperable and to engage throughout the ecosystem and help to build that collective sensing together. Next slide. So some potentials, that the ways that we can manage this is through having these subsidiary trusts underneath the Earth Trust architecture, where these are like values-based trusts that hold different initiatives. And that way, yeah, the agreements can be more fine-tuned and brought into a place of collaboration. And with a very clear intent, which I think is the key part of this. Next slide. So yeah, just a little sense of what that could look like as a multi-capital portfolio in action. One person could engage on all of these levels and look at how to contribute and to share with others using all of these avenues that are available, and that as people build into the tool more opportunities to connect, this will only grow in a sense of what actions are available for you and for people to invest in with their time, energy, and money. Next slide. Yeah, just the last concept I'd like to talk about is the threshold-based activation. We're seeing that as a key way to make sure that this system grows in a empowered way and a grounded way. So next slide. What that could mean would be organic thresholds. So as the bioregional organizers and the meta systems designers are looking at a region, then these can be identified and built into how projects are supported and individuals are encouraged. So an example might be like the butterfly sanctuary. They have these goals set, 5K, or they need 12 people. And so as those goals are achieved, then that brings them forward inside the community to be seen by others and to potentially have greater opportunities unlock for them. And yeah, we're seeing this as a way to manage like reputation, essentially, and also the flow funding itself. So I think that's it from me, and I will pass over to Rob, who'll talk a little bit about the agreements.
Thanks, Christine. Yeah, I'll be really quick because I know we want to get to the app and the discussion. So yeah, I mean, really just what to very quickly say about agreements. To me, agreements are like the scaffolding on everything else we're talking about, right? So it's all kind of built on agreements. And so these are some of the questions that we're asking is how do we create these agreements on multiple levels and layers in a modular way, and also something that we call like progressive agreements. So if projects are getting started, it might not be the best idea to start bringing in really complicated trust structures right away. Like how can people start to create agreements in a very simple way, and then increase the complexity as the need arises. So some of that we can kind of see in the app, but that's really the idea. Next slide, please. And I'll speak quickly to this. You can click the next slide, please. So bioregional intelligence. It's been fascinating to be thinking about this and digging into this. And really, it's about like, how do we make decisions here on all levels? And so I think bioregional intelligence can help to inform that. And really, probably a better way, I think, if it's working ideally, would be bioregional wisdom. And so that's really about taking all of like the signals and all of the inputs from people on the ground in different ways, stories, signals, votes, observations, things like that. And then, bringing it into aggregating it and seeing collective wisdom. And so it's really about like seeing the patterns, what patterns are happening. Are they regenerative patterns we're seeing? Are they extractive? So to me, it's not like data. It's more like the voice of the ecosystem speaking. And the other, sort of picture in my mind is like can kind of create like this living map of bioregional health and well-being. And in this like cycle of sensing and responding and feedback loops. You can hit the next slide. But yeah, so I think that's really what I want to say on that. And I think that there's a lot that we can see in the prototype that are kind of speaks to these different methods that can inform this bioregional intelligence. So that would be the transition then to the app. So kind of what does this look like in practice? How can people actually use it? Really like a tool. The tech really being the enabler for facilitating what folks are trying to facilitate. So Todd and I are going to speak on that. Todd, if you'd like to get us started, that'd be fantastic.
Thanks, Rob. Let's kick it off. So I think, like we've mentioned, this is a working prototype. I consider it like alpha version or beta version, if you're familiar with the terminology. There could be bugs. We're actively co-creating this app through kind of rapid prototyping and community engagement. So it exists currently at bioregions.circletrust.org. You can sign into the app there, bioregions.circletrust.org. It uses a PIN-based login system, so you don't have to set or remember a password. So I'm going to go ahead and log in with my email, todd.y@rootscoop. Within a few seconds, you should receive an email that includes your PIN code. Let's see, 966440. Once you log in, you'll see kind of a welcome screen. This welcome screen provides you with kind of an overview of the basic current features of the app. There's a map that is populated when people share their location. But one of the first things you can do is complete your social profile. So you can set a name, a display name. That's what's going to show up in your profile. You can set your language and locale. You can upload a profile photo if you'd like. You can share a little biography or an about me. And then you can link a social profile. You could link a Hyla profile if you'd like, or a professional link as well. So there's kind of two ways to share yourself. The second kind of feature that we're working on builds on this idea that bioregions have kind of very soft boundaries. They're really more emergent properties of this kind of bioregional wisdom and collective intelligence, like Cascadia includes the Cascade Mountains. But you can't just like create a list of bioregions because they don't really exist, and the naming of bioregions is determined by the place. So what we've created here is kind of a stepping stone into identifying your own bioregion. So you can set a location on a bioregional map, whatever you feel comfortable with. You don't have to indicate where you live specifically, and then we can describe this location. So me here in the Denver metro area, I live in the South Platte River Basin that provides a lot of water to the Great Plains, Nebraska, and a lot of our kind of breadbasket of the Turtle Island. So once you confirm that location, it will save that location to the map. It looks like we're already getting people confirming the location. And then it also uses AI to identify the ecoregion of that location as well. So looks like we have somebody who has added their location from East Sussex, the River Medway catchment, since I've started presenting. Another feature we have is kind of an exploration of the trust roles. This is a bit ambitious, and it speaks to maybe some of the plans that we have for different roles that will exist in this Earth Trust and a network of bioregional trusts. Contributors, that is you all, whether you contribute your story financially or otherwise. I think we're taking a wide view of different types of contributions under a multi-capital framework. There are project stewards who can create projects. There are supporters, bioregional coordinators, kind of working in between projects, maybe at a bioregional level, knowledge keepers who can share their wisdom, share their stories, and then trust founders, speaking maybe a little bit to a long-term vision around what does it look like to enable people to create their own bioregional trust that has a relationship to the kind of Earth Trust. And then there is a bioregional journal section, which is yet to be populated. So whoever creates or submits the first community note that is bioregional journal, that will show up in this list. So this is the welcome screen. Again, in addition to the map, we can see recent locations that have been submitted.
I created a note, Todd.
Oh, you created a note? Great. Well, we're moving to the social section of the app. The social section lists the trust participants. It's a bit of a participant directory. Here you can click into people's profile. If they've shared their location, that'll show up here. Otherwise, that you will see the oceans as their watershed. It's a planetary watershed. Everything returns back to the ocean. Aaron, welcome. I see you're a new addition to the directory. And then just below the directory, we have a community note board. This is intended to be a fairly broad bulletin board with many different ways of sharing or communicating. So before I go into the post-it note, we can explore community note types. There are project updates that you can send. You can link that to a specific project, which we'll cover later. There are bioregional journals. That is the type that populates that first page on the welcome page. If you want to share a story about your bioregion, that will show up there. Bioregional announcements, resource shares. This one is yet to be added, but we want to really create a way for what has been kind of talked about in the web is kind of bioregional intelligence. Can we create a way for people to start building these curated digital libraries of resources that represent kind of their unique bioregion? You can create a community note that is listed as an offering or seeking support, gratitude, a challenge that you might be facing, a knowledge share, wisdom sharing, celebration, or a proposal. So different types of community notes that could be shared. And then you can post your note. So if you have something you want to share with the trust, you can give it a title. You can add some content. I'll do this on the fly while I'm talking, but I'll say we are presenting Circletrust to the BioFi community of practice. I'm enjoying getting to share our cooperative work with this inspiring community. All right. This, I'll say this is gratitude. Why not? It's not directly connected to a project, and I don't think I need to share an image right now. So once I hit submit, you can see that note has been posted. And it's just a basic way for us to communicate, kind of start to build some interactions. And that brings us to kind of the third kind of high level navigation. And this is really orienting around kind of the capital contributions. Right now, we have an active link that enables people to contribute financial resources and do that via Stripe. Our intention around building a trust is very specifically an open books accounting system that enables us to look at financial contributions of time, contributions of value that might not fit within the traditional or corporate accounting. So we won't get into the details, but we're using something called REA, the REA model for accounting, which looks at resources, events, and what's called an agent or an actor. It's kind of participants. And this allows us, unlike even a traditional nonprofit that accounts just for kind of credits and debits of cash inflow, this allows us a more expressive means of recognizing, valuing, and seeing contributions, not including fiat currency if possible. So when you contribute to the Earth Trust, there are kind of allocations that are made. The expectation is that these allocations will be collectively determined by the community based on dynamic input. But at this point, they are broken down into what are very common for a nonprofit that is trying to allocate resources. So 50% is going to a gift pool. 25% is going to what we're calling an endowment that enables us to build kind of long-term capacity for giving. 15% goes to stewardship and administration of the platform and the work. And then another 10% is going to fundraising, which allows us to do more storytelling and to kind of capitalize, if you will, the trust in all of the forms of value. We have a basic contribution agreement that breaks down what I just explained. I will say that currently, Roots Cooperative is the kind of account holder of the trust. We are not currently a 501c3 nonprofit. There could be discussions around that pathway, but that implies that here in the United States, if you're a U.S. citizen, your contributions to the trust will not be tax deductible. We would be interested in maybe exploring a fiscal hosting sponsorship or even becoming a 501c3 ourselves if that is where we decide to evolve to. Finally, the last bit is the project section. So you can create a project to start sharing your work. That can be as brief or as kind of comprehensive as you'd like. And our intention here is to enable a bioregional community to start curating these projects and start indicating what work is meaningful in relationship to other projects within their bioregion and at a global scale. So I'm personally, as a technologist, in this conundrum between people who think that we don't need another app, we don't need another platform. I generally agree, but what I'm excited about is building digital tools for collective action at a bioregional scale where we can start to flow resources, we can start to communicate, we can start to build context for the work that is happening in a given place. So kind of closing it out, I will share this project that I'm particularly excited about. In our breakout room, I shared the unique place that is the front range of the Rocky Mountains where I sit. This is a migration corridor for birds and for insects, and every spring it just comes alive. And I would love to see that continue to exist, continue to thrive in the future. So I imagine that nonprofits like the Butterfly Sanctuary here, just a few miles from my house, can be further supported in their work of building habitat for pollinators and for bird species in this corridor. And they don't just have an insect zoo, that's kind of one side, but they actually have their hands in the soil. They are out at our parks distributing seeds to locals to help provide pollinator infrastructure in your garden, and they also spread seeds in parks as well. So they have community and habitat building. So I think that's about it for the features. I will say, as kind of a co-op project, we are actively working to build out features that enable us to do more signaling around gift distributions. Currently, we do have kind of a way to contribute to the trust, but we want to bring in natural patterns for our giving activities. So we really imagine seasons of giving that are informed by the solar cycle and lunar cycle with different kind of dynamics that each of those introduce. But I won't share too much about that because it's emergent and maybe something you can look forward to. So I'll pass it back to Rob to see if there's anything else he would like to share.
Thanks, Todd. That's great. Yes, there's so many things I'd like to share. But I want to make sure there's time for discussion. I think, the only thing to say is that the platform that we're working on allows for a lot of modularity and fast prototyping, and I think that, to me, that's a big piece, because I know that, right, like there's a lot of exploration and experimentation to do, and we don't have all the answers, and being able to move quickly and adjust to the different contexts of each bioregion feels like a really important piece, until things, the system gets a little more stabilized. So that's what I'll share. Thanks so much. And I'd like to pass it to, it's either Mike or Christine, who is going to start us out on the wrap up.
Mike, would you like to finish us up?
Sure. Todd, could you put the presentation back up too? So to wrap us up, pulling together what can emerge at the intersections of what a team developing and holding a digital platform are bringing to the table, and also what ecosystem builders, best practice developers, systems thinkers, next economy imaginers here at the BioFi ecosystem can emerge together. And so at the Circletrust level, bring technical architecture, legal frameworks, working prototypes, and all of our respective experiences in the regenerative movement, combining with all of the bioregional communities and capabilities that this ecosystem and BioFi itself holds. I'll leave us with just some stimulation around these two ideas so that we can hold a little bit of time for some questions. First, around what we're calling contribution to equity pathways. As a part of stepping into this work, it's been entirely community-based. It's been the giving of time and effort and spirit and heart to do this work. What can it look like for a digital platform to be an enabler for us so that all of that energy that we give can actually be held in a structure of trust ownership. So that's one big idea for collaboration together. Another one is exploring the foundations of regenerative wealth together. And so how can it be that the improvement of our bioregion, the conditions for life in our bioregion, the quality of life in our bioregion, how is it that our investments and our investment incentives can be in full alignment with the achievement of those results together? And so what do those investment models look like? And then how can we encode that in a digital architecture to design and deliver economies that are in service to life? So I will leave it there. Christine, please close us out.
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add to that. We're just very grateful to be able to present here. We understand that there's so much wisdom in this community already, and so we want our tools and concepts to be supportive of the people already doing this great work. And we see it as a co-creative path as we keep going forward here. So please reach out via the app links. We also have, I can put an email address in the chat as well. And we have a weekly meeting, Circletrust meeting, that we invite people to attend and to ask more questions, get to know us more, and build up that engagement. So, Todd, would you like to field some questions from the collective here?
Happy to, yeah. Let's open it up. Thank you all. Yeah, thank you all for letting us present. Open the room to questions.
Thanks for such a rich presentation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we'll have 8 minutes here. So welcome folks to ask Todd and team whatever's on their hearts and minds. I think if you have a particularly very technical, nerdy question about the accounting methodology, let's maybe save that for offline. But if you've got something that you think can serve the whole here, please bring that.
I do. And things are so my question is kind of scale and interface. So what I'm working on, like the very entry level thing is pairing new forms of land trust, or more like the 10-acre mini farm, with apprenticeships and giving the youth the toolbox and the housing and the and also people fresh out of college, and bringing the skills in to a bioregion like the one I'm in, and then having this collective bigger impact. And so I'm wondering, is this a tool that I'm going to use right out the gate, and it will serve me the entire time as any particular bioregional collective movement gets going? Or is it going to be like that we kind of branch off, there's a bifurcation, and we kind of, like you're the parent, but we're the children? Or are we all staying, is it meant to be this collective tool that spans bioregions? I know the answer is probably both to a degree, but if you have any clarity around those things, is this making sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think in spirit we imagine that this is a digital commons. So it's also supported by two cooperatives that are not kind of profit maximizing social media networks. So we want to build this with you. I would say immediately you could share your project, and what I imagine is that as you share your project, you can indicate who the team is, who the participants are. You could start to maybe even build a following of your project. And then eventually you could be the recipient of some of the gift funding. So, but I would love to see even deeper forms of like equity where projects themselves have equity outside of the kind of us as project stewards.
There's not a well-known permaculturist out there that doesn't have people coming to them. They have acreages, they have, created this permaculture paradise. They don't have kids to leave it to. They want to do something good with it. I see a lot of lands becoming available and to getting those into trust. I mean, boom, there's it's just ready resources right there.
Yeah, I appreciate it. And you speak to, I think we can apply the spirit and intentions and even some of the legal structures of community land trust to our digital infrastructure. That was a significant part of my inspiration. Could I pass it to Roberta with her hand up?
Yeah, thank you. You might have addressed this, but I didn't catch it. And I'm just wondering how the platform handles like the nested scales of bioregioning. You mentioned you can put a point on the map and a project, but what about if we wanted to have this as a vehicle for creating our own bioregional network of projects? So I'm just wondering how it's going to handle that. And maybe it does, and I missed it. So thank you.
That's a great question. Currently, you can add a project, and when you link your location, it actually identifies an ecoregion associated with your location. So when you create your project, you can associate your project with an ecoregion. I think I spoke to it earlier. Bioregions themselves are kind of these emergent properties of the culture of that bioregion. So what I imagine we could build in a future iteration, another feature is a way to start tagging projects and people within a specific place. So we could look at a giant map and then isolate any projects that are linked with a specific bioregion as emergent from that community.
So people could say, I'm in the Northeast bioregion and I'm looking for projects in the Northeast bioregion, and there would be a way of getting there. Okay.
Searching, filtering, clustering projects by place.
Yeah. No, thank you. It looks really interesting. I look forward to exploring it. Thanks a lot for this presentation. It was really interesting.
Thank you, Roberta. Can I pass it to Dan with his hand up?
Yes, hi. I'm in the North San Francisco Bay bioregion, and I'm just learning about BioFi and now Circletrust. So what is the relationship between forming a bioregional financing facility and Circletrust? I don't get that yet.
Yeah, so Circletrust is a sponsored platform by a Colorado-based cooperative called Roots. Roots is a cooperative of technology and tool builders, and this is an implementation of a concept for community accounting and economics. So what we're providing here is essentially a named purpose trust that enables us to start aggregating resources that we can direct toward projects, and starting to build a kind of signaling, what you could call community governance, that helps us determine where funds contributed can be directed. Yeah, I won't speak too much to that because we're low on time. But if you have more questions, please feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah, I will. Thank you.
Howard at the Kulshan Carbon Trust. Good to see you. You're on mute.
Apologies. I want to congratulate you and your team for all the progress you're making. It's really very, very, very heartening. My question is, and I'm coming from the Cascadia bioregion and the Kulshan subregion, if we're forming within our carbon trust network, looking for ways to harness flow funding and to be able to track the various flows that go into regenerative projects and building bioregional resilience is our mission nowadays. And I'm wondering if the platform has evolved to the point where it's realistic to look at that as a way to in a user-friendly way, get people who are living on the land and not necessarily on the web to track simply the kinds of contributions that they're making beyond money, obviously, to get labor and storytelling and the other key elements. Could you say whether it's drop-in or adaptable, or if it would have to be each case by case for that?
Yeah. I would say that if they're not on the web, representing them in a digital technology might be difficult. I think we intend to create a tool that can be used in different contexts and different kind of perspectives. I would say that it could be a tool that allows us to represent the type of contributions they're making to their place. Without getting, again, into the details, I think the resources, events, and agents accounting framework gives us more of a what a computer scientist might call a natural language expression for accounting. It basically means that I can speak to the value that I would perceive as maybe a member of the Kulshan carbon region, or the Kulshan region of Cascadia, where that expression and that kind of verbal account of value does have a relationship to the open book system of the trust. So my short answer is yes, and that feature would need to be more specifically developed with a community that would like to leverage it.
Okay. And we're trying to reframe carbon crediting into eco crediting, but this may be a better leap, is to use the ideas you're working on.
I'm going to pass it back to Tyler and Sam to close us out. But thank you all for attending, and a lot of gratitude I'm present with for you all.
Yeah. Thanks so much, Todd and Mike and Christine and Rob. This was lovely, and look forward to following along as you develop. And so glad Tibet and Aaron from Hilo were here and seeing the synergies there. So I love that there's this weaving happening. And thanks all for attending. I put the link to the community of practice there. We'll get this recording up in the next day or two, and stay tuned for the next event that we'll be hosting in August. We'll blast that out when we've got those dates confirmed.
Looking forward to more soon. And Todd and team, once we put the recording up, please put invitations and links for people to engage in that post so folks can find it. More soon. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Take care.
Lou,
Everyone.
thank you all. Be well.
Bye.
Bye.